Hello there, in this video I will teach you the basics of replication. Is how you can communicate info or actions between the clients and the server. For this, I'm using an example, a shooter game. The most important part to replicate is the file system. For this, you need to replicate the spawn factor on the interaction with null entries. In this case, I'm using the ballistic effects, so I will show you how to replicate the spawn of an actor. But first, let's remember how multiplayer games work. You have clients, the players, and a server that communicates them. This can be a dedicated server like Amazon or a player like a host. Now let's remember how games work. Games are based on events, let's say interactions. For example, if I press the left mouse button on my mouse, I will shoot. That's what I need to replicate, events. Now, in the case of replicating the bullet that I have, this one right here, I don't need to replicate all the movement, just the spawn, because the server and all the clients know this class. They know the components, like the projectile movement that I have right here. So I just need to tell the server to spawn it or replicate it to all the clients. I can play with these roles in rel in the play mode. I can play as client or server. Let's put it as 2 and hit play. I will pick up a weapon, and if I shoot, as you can see, the bullet is replicated because I have an event with server and client replication. The logic is simple. As I said, I have an action for the file system. When I press the left mouse button on my mouse, is this action right here that is executing this code. Okay, so what I need to replicate it are custom events, because that's when I input action event. Just make a right click and type for custom event. Okay, give it a name, for example server, and here I have the replication. It's not replicated by default. Multicast is to replicate on all the clients, this one. A server is to replicate on server, and this one doesn't really matter for this case. So what you need to do first is send the info I want to the server and then to the clients. So you hit run server, reliable, and now I'm going to create another custom event for all the clients. In operation, multicast, select multicast, reliable, and what I'm going to do now is call the multicast event after the server custom event. On the multicast, I'm going to execute the code that I want. I don't need to do it twice like before this event, after the server event. If the server is calling the multicast, it's going to be replicated. So here I can, for example, print a string or spawn an actor. So the logic with the file input is called the server event. After this, just like here. So let me show you my example. This one, I have a similar event, far event, and this one is calling the far multicast. This is the one that has this spawn actor qubit projectile. It's just a spawn actor node. I'm using the qubit class. It's just like that. Select the qubit unit projectile. Now this lead is because of the class parameters. Just like that, you're sending a custom event to the server and from there to the rest of the clients. Now to complete this tutorial, let me show you how I'm getting this transform variable and why. If I just spawn a bullet using the client location of the client gun, I can make sure that I'm going to have the same location for all the clients. I don't want to spawn the same bullets on different locations. So I'm going to give the location parameter with the custom events. For that, just add a parameter. You can select the type, like creating a variable. I have the same on the file server and multicast. You can easily add a new parameter if you drag the input like this. So for a shooter game, what I want is to align the shoot to the center of the screen, the crosshair. To get the center of the screen, in this case, I'm using the basal locomotion system, so I have a camera component. Instead, I have a camera manager. But let's say that you have a camera. Just get the component and the camera location and the camera rotation. The concept is shoot a line trace to get what is in the middle point of the camera hitting. So to do that, just get the camera rotation, then get the forward vector, just drag and select get forward vector. Multiply that plus a really high value, like that one, and use the camera location as the start point, and this plus the camera location as the end point. Now I'm going to break the hit result, and just because I can make sure that I'm going to hit something, even if I have this really high value, for example, if I aim into the sky, I'm going to make a selector. So using the return value, just make a selector, and if it hits something, if it's true, I'm going to use the location, but if not, I'm going to use the trace end. And that is what I'm using for the fan look at rotation. So now the idea is get the 3D model of the weapon to get where I want to spawn the bullet. In this case, I have this 3D model, and I have a socket called muzzle where I want to spawn the bullet. And that is what I'm getting with that socket location. As you can see, it says muzzle. And now I'm using that as the start point for my fan look at rotation. And as the target, I have the value that I'm getting from the trace end, for the line trace that I have right here. So now just make a transform, just like that. And now that's what I'm giving to the custom event, to the server, fire server, and then to the fire multicast. And that is what I'm finally using for the spawn actor from class. You save it and that's all. That's how you can replicate a bullet. I will put the link in the description to this game once it's done.